Good evening and welcome to the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show. First one of the season with Coach Jordan Vierra. We are live at the Golden Rule in beautiful Georgetown, Texas. The Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street here in Georgetown. Above all else, goodwill, friendship, and kind regard. Folks, we are excited to get the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show kicked off this season with the defending 5A state champions, Georgetown Eagle Baseball team and head coach Jordan Vierra. The season this year so far got off to, if you're just looking at the schedule, the season got off to what looked like a rocky start, but like we'll talk with Coach Vierra in just a few minutes, we were playing some pretty stout baseball teams in 6A all throughout the state of Texas. But now district has kicked off. The Eagles are 3-0 in district after a victory last night over the Pflugerville Panthers in Pflugerville, 5-1. And they'll play those same Panthers tomorrow night here in Georgetown, 6:45 pregame show on SHN Sports and 7 o'clock first pitch. So if you're in town, come out, support these Eagles. It's going to be a beautiful night for baseball. Maybe a little windy, but should be a great night for baseball like there's ever a bad night for baseball. So we're excited to get this show kicked off tonight. We hope you can join us next week on Thursday here at the Golden Rule. Same time, 6:45 next Thursday. And for the remainder of the season, the show will be 6:45 on Thursdays here in Georgetown. We got a couple of players with us tonight. We're going to be talking to Nolan Jondal and Eli Hellman a little bit later, and we're going to bring Coach Jordan Vierra up here in just a few minutes. So, folks, stick with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back and dive right into the baseball conversation with Coach Vierra. This is the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show on SHN Sports, brought to you by First Responder Broadcasting here on YouTube from the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street in Georgetown. We'll be back in just a few minutes with head coach Jordan Vierra.
The Golden Rule, the official sponsor of the Eagle Nation Coaches Show, is located at 606 South Church Street in Georgetown, Texas. Eats, drinks, unmatched atmosphere. Above all else, goodwill, friendship, and kind regard.
There we go.
Are we good now?
All right. Pull that microphone in close. We got to hear you.
All upon it.
Coach, little bit different look this season, right?
Yeah. got a brand new bunch of guys. It's a blast.
Yeah, we were talking before the show, and the starting roster, anyhow, you had a lot of turnover, right? You only got a couple of guys back that were starters last year.
Right. So we ended up with we graduated 13 guys we had last year. 12 of those guys got the opportunity to continue to play college baseball, and then we got a few returners as well. We got Eli Hellman, who's returning as our shortstop. You got Riley Leininger, who got a bunch of at-bats in the DH spot, and Nolan Jondal, who pitched big game 3 for us against Canyon. So, and then a bunch of guys who kind of played some roles in that run in different spots along the way. So, not a ton of innings back, but we got plenty of guys that are incredibly competitive and excited about the opportunity to get in their new roles.
Well, before we dive very deep into this season, I can't help but go back. I know last year was last year, this year's this year, but you made some history for Georgetown High School and brought the state championship to Georgetown.
Yes, sir.
Talk about not only talk about that. We'll get to the championship game in just a couple of minutes, but that run to the championship game. By the time the playoffs got here, this team was clicking.
Yeah.
Pitching staff was throwing well. The hitters were hitting well, producing a lot on offense. When you got to the Canyon series, that's the only series that went 3 games, and it was a fun baseball series to watch. Talk about that playoff run before you got to the state championship.
Yeah, we got to be in one of the most competitive districts in the state of Texas last year. At one point, the top 5 teams were ranked in the top 25, and so there was this constant back and forth between the 5 teams. And We had to win one of the last two just to get into the playoffs, first of all,
Right.
and then we ended up winning the last two, ended up winning the district in a four-way tie. But so we're battle-tested headed into the playoffs last year, and then everybody started playing very well, being super competitive. Things were clicking. Pitchers were throwing a ton of strikes. The bullpen, which everybody knows is when you get in those big games and those long series, that the bullpen is what ultimately wins you and loses you games, and our bullpen was hot. We had Wade Denton, who was able to throw a bunch of strikes, and so it was just and like Ty Klaus Keismore was able to come in, and so there's a bunch of guys that were able to come into the bullpen. Like you said, Nolan Johndal comes out and he throws the big game 3 against New Braunfels Canyon, which was an incredibly competitive series back and forth, where our guys were able to experience adversity. And I think one of the big pieces of that run last year was the amount of adversity that our guys had faced and overcome together throughout the course of that season last year. Ultimately led to them being in a position throughout the playoff run where they understood that one minor mistake wasn't going to set us back all the way back to the beginning and reset everything, but they were going to be able to continue to waver through that and continue to keep on going. So when you make the run that you make there, it's always fun. And then getting to play at Dell Diamond in front of your hometown crowd is always a blast. When you got 3,000-4,000 people there wearing Eagle Blue and being loud in the hottest 2 days of the summer,
it was hot.
It's a blast.
Yeah, we had a blast calling those games all through that playoff run. When you got to the playoff run, you had 2 starters that had carried you a bunch of the season, and it wasn't really your first guy and your second guy. It was like 1A and 1B, really.
Yeah.
And it was funny because after the first game of the Alamo Heights series, we were packing up our stuff, and I overheard some of the conversation from the Alamo Heights parents, and one of their dads said there's no way they can beat us 2 games in a row. And I just kind of chuckled because we had thrown, I guess, what would be labeled as 1B that night. And I just kind of laughed, and he goes, you think it's different? And I go, that wasn't even our ace. And he went, what? So, but you had a deep pitching staff.
Yeah.
You had a lot of arms you could go to. And in talking to some of the opposing coaches' staff, that was the one thing that they were really worried about anytime they took the field against the Eagles was how deep that pitching staff was.
Yeah, we had a couple of really good starters, guys that we really trusted put the ball in their hand, who we felt like could go out and give us the 4 or 5 innings that we needed. We had the back end pieces to be able to bridge to the closers that we had. And when you have a pitching staff of 6-8 guys that you really trust that can attack the strike zone and can fill it up and can let your defense work, and more importantly, or just as equally importantly, having a defense behind them, they can pick it up and throw it where they need to and play clean defense behind them. That's always a recipe for success, and so we were able to have that. And as a coach, it makes it pretty easy to figure out what it looks like and not having to do a bunch of smoke and mirrors, but just going, hey, we're just going to give that ball and he's going to go get after it.
So we get to the state championship game. You're at Dell Diamond with the boys. And I haven't gotten a lot of opportunity to talk to you about all the pregame stuff. What was going through your mind before the first pitch ever got going when you show up to the stadium and you're trying to keep the boys focused and not overwhelmed by the fact they're playing in the state championship game?
Yeah, so, we were able to do a couple of things last year. Was one, the Tuesday before or the Wednesday before, whatever day it was, we were able to get out there and go over to Dell Diamond as a club and be able to walk in and stand on the outside, look around and soak in what the field is going to look like. So the first time that you step in there and you look up and go, oh God, this is big.
This is it.
It's not the first time.
Yeah.
So we were able to get the guys out there and get them kind of acclimated to what that looked like and what that was going to feel like. And we were big believers in visualization. And so being able to put them in a spot where they were going to be able to visualize what it was going to be like there. So that's first and foremost of I think what allowed our guys to be able to just play baseball, of putting them in a position where, hey, this is the first time we've been here. We've been in this position before. We, as a coaching staff, we'd been in that position before, right? So we were able to kind of lean back on some of those knowledge knots of what it was like to be in that position in 2019 and 2015. Of what are the emotions of the players going to be like in that situation? Right. As a coach, what are your emotions going to be like? How do you worry about subsiding those emotions and suppressing them and getting it back to remembering, hey, this is just the game of baseball, right? The bags are still 90 feet apart. The pitching rubber is still 60 feet, 6 inches away. The grass is still green. The dirt's still brown. The game is no different than what it's been before. And so the guys were really able to buy into that last year and keep that thing moving. And so ultimately when it comes down to it, you're just playing baseball.
I know you're a coach, but you're a fan of the game as well.
Yeah.
So from a fan point, not even a coach's point, from a fan point, the one home run that got hit in that ball game probably came from one of the least likely ones that you would think was going to go yard in that game. It was his second home run of the season, is that right? Third home run of the season. And he hits it in the biggest game of the season. Whoa. When you saw the ball leave the bat, talk about that.
Ball left the bat, I went, no way. And then it banged off, and the umpire was saying safe. Like, he didn't call it out. He was just saying safe. And Logan looks at me like, hey, I got it. And he's got this big smile on his face. I'm like, no, you got to still run.
Go.
You got to go. And the defense stopped it, so luckily that they finally figured it out. But, yeah, I mean, it's exciting for him. You know, it's something that the program has meant a lot to Logan. That he spent a lot of time working really, really hard, vying for his chance. And last year he got his chance, and he seized it and ran with it. And so really proud of him for the work that he was able to put in. And he got his opportunity, and he didn't let it go.
During the playoff run, I think it was Alamo Heights, a little trickery on the base pass. It threw the pitching off and balked in a run.
Canyon.
Game
2, Canyon.
Yeah, balked in a run.
Yeah.
Championship game, somebody had seen film.
Yeah.
They've got the tying run on third base, and they tried it, and it failed.
Yeah.
And you win the state championship on a great play, picking off the runner at third. I saw you, but I couldn't hear you. What was going on?
Well, to be honest, like we had gone 0-2. I looked down at my card to see what was going on to make sure everything was stacking up the way we had looked up. I hear commotion. I look up, and I see Jacob throwing the ball to third base and see him catch tag. He was like, that's it. That's it. That's the third out.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
That was so awesome. Wow.
So it was that was really cool. I mean, credit to Jacob. I mean, it's arguable that he balked in game 2. It's arguable that you can watch the video and decide for yourself if you thought it was a balk or not. Umpire called it a balk. So, but what's impressive about that is he learned from it.
Yep.
And was able to take the knowledge knot and not let that happen again.
Well, even in the booth, I could hear. I don't even know who it was, but somebody going, step off, step off.
Oh, Logan.
Logan, yeah. Logan screaming, step off. We're up in the booth, sitting right next to the Ryan family, which was awesome, by the way. And I hear him screaming, step off, step off, step off. He just kept his cool, made the play, and you're state champions.
Yeah,
and
pretty special.
And Wally had to mute me right away because I was freaking out. I don't know whether Jordan's going to care about this or not, but Coach Vierra and I go back to the time you were, I guess, 12 years old.
Just about 2000, I guess.
Yeah, 2000. I was the first school resource officer in Georgetown, and I was up at Georgetown High School, and your dad was the softball coach at Georgetown High School at the time. And the first time I met this guy is when his dad brought him into my office just to shoot the bull. So,
I'm sure I was in trouble for something. He was trying to scare me straight. I'm sure there was something going on.
Yeah, he brought you
I'm sure it wasn't just a nice, friendly conversation. Hey.
He brought you to the wrong guy. But I've known you since 2000, so it was very special for me, not only as a baseball fan, not only as a Georgetown Eagle fan, but as a friend to see that and to have you accomplish that with that group of guys that you had last year, and it was just fantastic.
I appreciate that.
That's why Wally had to mute me, because I was about to start sobbing on the air. So let's go to this season.
Yeah.
A lot of roster turnover. You've only got two real true starters back, and you go through a gauntlet pre-district.
For sure.
And so – again, if you look at the schedule, what was it? 8-10-1 overall right now. But coming into district play, you're 5-10-1 coming in there. And if somebody's just looking at the schedule, they're going, Georgetown's not that formidable. But how much of that was just working on the development and the chemistry of these guys this year? Because last year was awesome. It was a blast.
Yeah.
But it's a new baseball season.
Oh, for sure.
Talk about building that chemistry in those pre-district games.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for us to run our guys out there and kind of figure out what pieces fit where. Right, so we're putting guys in different spots of can this guy play in this spot? Can he play in that spot? Can he throw out of the bullpen? Can he start? Is he a back-end guy? Is he a bridge guy? And trying to figure out kind of what all those things look like. And so we're constantly trying to play with those pieces there and figure out who can do what. And so we're experimenting with the lineup. We're experimenting with the defense and kind of figuring out what that looks like and giving guys opportunities to see what can shake out. The other thing is, Now you look at that schedule, the 16 games we played, there was only one guy or one team that we played in that entire thing that's not ranked in the top 25.
Mo's up in 6A, right?
Yeah, it was a 6A team from San Antonio East Central. And so, I mean, we played the who's who of 6A. I mean, you look at the 6A, we played 5 of the top 10 teams in 6A. We played 2 of the top 5 teams in 4A. We played the rest of the top teams in 5A for the rest of the way. And so it was an absolute gauntlet of a run. So through that run, you're able to get the experience. You're able to experience what the fire feels like. You're able to see what that looks like of that brand of baseball, that high caliber of baseball that we're trying to get to, and see what our guys can do along the way. And sometimes we played really, really well and met it. Like we play at our place and take a really good top-ranked Woodlands team, who was the number 1 team in the state of Texas at the time in 6A, and take them to the wire at our place, And so we played that close game. We play Smithson Valley really close. We come back and ultimately win that game at their place, which they're a top-ranked team at the moment as well. And so it's these guys figuring out what is my role in this, right? And then how do I compete at this level to be able to compete with the big guys at that point? And what does the game of baseball look like in that area? And so for these guys, especially the younger guys who haven't really been battle tested at all, really, and this is the first time they've played in a game that mattered something, that meant something, it's important for them to experience what that feels like. And they responded really well. I mean, obviously you see the record doesn't reflect what learning they had during that time. It doesn't reflect what they did as far as growth during that time. And I think where we're getting into our district play now, you start to see how those things are starting to line up, and they're starting to click and play the way that they need to. So we purposely run the gauntlet at the beginning of the year to get that experience, so that now, once we enter district play, we've been battle tested a little bit. And now that we're playing the games that ultimately get you into the playoffs, we're in a position where our guys have experienced that time. And I'm excited about where this group is at the moment, and the things that are continuing to grow and learn moving forward.
So 2022, you talked about it a little bit earlier, 4-way tie at the top for first place. And by the tiebreakers, we wind up the top seed. There was a pretty good fifth-place team that stayed home from the playoffs that could probably hang with a lot of teams in that playoff, and the district's no easier this year.
No, it's not. I mean, regardless of what night you go out, you're going to face somebody that has a really good arm and play against a quality team that can play defense and swing a little bit. And I think for us, it goes back to it's not about playing against somebody. It's all about playing the game of baseball, right? We're always competing against the game. We're not competing against another team. We're competing against the game. And so for us, it's about us controlling what we control, playing the best we can play in that moment, and doing those little things the best we can.
So last night, Pflugerville, y'all head over to Pflugerville, play a Panther team that's got some fight in them.
Yeah.
Jump out to a quick lead. Talk about the game last night. When you go out for that, when the pitcher takes the hill for that first out, Pflugerville's going to be competitive. You know the history that they have of playing some pretty decent baseball.
Yeah.
What was the challenge to get the team ready to play last night? Because the pitching did well.
Yeah, so the challenge is always just going to be like, can we reach first base? Can we touch second base? And then can we touch third and home offensively, right? We got to get to first base. And the guy that they threw out there was a decent arm. He's a mid-80s arm, and he could spin a breaking ball for a strike when you need to and could get after it. So offensively, it's hey, what is his menu going to be, right? Like, what is he throwing? Where is he throwing it? And so for us to adapt and figure out what is our approach going to be, what's our hunt going to be, and then executing that plan. And our guys did a great job of it. We figured out pretty quick in the first 2 innings what they were going to try and do pitching-wise. And then our guys were able to score the 3 it was in the third, I believe. So he scratched the 3 in the third. We continue to get great pitching from Riley Leininger. He did a great job for us last night, filling up the strike zone and getting after it there. And defense played pretty clean for the most of the night. And so both those things ultimately led to our ability to scratch. And I think the big thing about last night that we really take away from the win last night is we didn't just score the 3 and just stop and say we're good. We scored 3, and then we scored 1, and then we scored 1. And so being able to play that stack-on baseball for our guys last night was pretty big.
Talk about when Riley takes the hill as a starter, talk about what kind of advantages he brings to what you're trying to do defensively against some pretty good hitting teams.
Yeah, I mean, he's an athletic guy on the mound. So when he's able to fill up the strike zone and able to pound the box the way that he does, it puts us in a position to where if they want to play small ball, we got a guy that can pick it up, throw it, he can bounce off the mound and do that. He's able to control the running game pretty well for the most part, of keeping those guys from run all around. And so those kind of two aspects of him being on the mound do a really good job for us and put us in a position to have the success that we're really looking for.
So since you don't really have a senior-heavy team, an experienced senior-heavy team, who has really jumped out in those leadership roles so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, Nolan Jordon's been one of those guys who's helped lead the team. You got Kyle Ropolo, who's been in there and been a big leader as far as that kind of stuff goes, and bringing that. And then you mix in a guy like Eli Hellman, who's been in the fire this is his third year now on the varsity, and so he has those knowledge knots of, hey, what does that look like to be a part of that, and to be in the mix of those things, and to relay that experience to those guys. And so we have an older group of guys that's been around, right? They were able to see that success from last year and to see what was left behind, right? Because success leaves clues.
Right.
And so they were able to see what those breadcrumbs were of what led to that success and keep relaying, hey, what do we got to continue to keep doing to reach that point along the way?
When you lose some of the leaders that you lost from last year's team, it can be difficult to replace those guys and have leaders step up. And at all levels of baseball, I've seen teams that have had some of their leadership leave, especially the college level,
yeah.
and then nobody steps up. But that hadn't been the case this year. You've had guys step right in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guys understand that. Hey, the one thing that we talk about all the time is the importance of the G. Right, the G means a lot to you, means a lot to me. Being from here, being graduates of it, the G is really important. And we were talking about it last week. We had Coach Payne, his son Cy. Came and spoke to the team about the importance of the American flag. He's a current Marine, been in the Marine Corps for a while, graduated Naval Academy, and so he came and spoke to our guys about what's the flag mean to you, and the importance of the national anthem, and talking about service and leadership and those kinds of things. And one thing that he said that really stuck out to us, and we as a team talked about it later, was to him the flag stood for not just about the country, but it stood for the legacy of the guys that came before him,
right?
Of who he was and who was around him at his moment, and then the guys that are coming after him. And so we started talking about that in the clubhouse of, hey, what does that look like for us, right? Like the G is what we talk about. Like the G is what's important. And so it's not just about our guys right now. It's about the guys that came before us and the legacy that those guys left. And now it's our turn to be the bridge to the guys that are in front of us, and to continue that legacy. And so with that being one of the focal points, these guys have stepped right into maintaining that tradition, that culture, that longevity of what we're trying to accomplish. You know, it's more than just baseball for us. Baseball just tends to be a pretty cool byproduct of doing things the right way, and it's been really cool to see the guys that have been able to step up into those new roles and take ownership of those new roles and continue to perpetuate that legacy.
Folks, it's the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show here from the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street in Georgetown, Texas. And we're glad that you've all joined us. We've got a good crowd out here. Appreciate all you guys coming out for the Coaches Show. Coach, I do want to ask you, Wally and I and you talked about it, and we talked about it with Coach Griffin during the fall. The G, and you just mentioned that G. And last year you called it a target.
Yeah.
And when you hoist that state championship trophy, that target got bigger.
It's a lot bigger.
Yeah. So now it's not like people didn't want to beat Georgetown whenever they came on the field anyhow, but now they want to beat the defending state champion Georgetown Eagles.
Right.
And you got to these guys have to keep focused, and they can't just go, hey, we're Georgetown. We're going to walk on the field and win.
Right.
And how big of a challenge? I'm very fortunate in the career that I had to not depend on the performance of 15 to 18-year-olds. The career I had a lot to do with the decisions I made on my own. Talk about the challenges now. You've got a young, fresh group in and good core leadership at the top of it. But who on the new guys coming into the varsity this year, who has really surprised you or shown up and you were kind of, I don't know, but anybody standing out?
Yeah, I mean, to start with where you started with the target, you know, it's really fun to see that target continue to grow and get bigger, and to see the embrace that these guys have of that, of accepting the competition, accepting that every time you step out, you're going to get everybody's best bullet and everybody's best effort, and they're going to want to give you everything that they got. And it's obviously what we want to be that case. And So that's really fun to continue with that. The second part of that is some guys that have really stepped up and been guys that weren't really sure were going to be who we think that they were. It's like guys like Brady Peters who stepped up and he's done a really good job swinging the bat and playing a quality third base for us. Chance Pernica has done a great job behind the plate of commanding the defense and getting those guys going, which we fully expected him to be able to do. Be able to come in and command the defense, receive the baseball, and take care of our pitching staff. He's done a great job there. And so it's been a mix of a bunch of guys of being able to give us some different things that we necessarily, I wouldn't say didn't expect, but we're hoping that would be there. And so it's been cool to see those guys really step up into those roles. There's been a number of guys that have been able to step in and be those guys.
Half the guys that you lost last year, like you said a little bit earlier, playing college ball now. And one of those guys was behind the plate last year, playing up at Baylor now. When a new guy's coming in and replacing somebody like that, there can be this tendency to maybe have that weight of what they did overwhelm a little bit, but it doesn't seem like that's the case behind the plate.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, Chance and I had a conversation earlier this year about kind of what we were expecting him to be able to do behind the plate and commanding the defense and lead those kinds of things. And there's been a number of things where we've been talking about how he was receiving so well and getting the ball out of his glove and throwing so well. And he was like, I just tried to soak up everything that Zach had last year. And he was like, it's been great. Yeah. So that's kind of the breadcrumb that we were talking about earlier, where success leaves clues. And when you have those successful guys that they take the continuing of the tradition very, very seriously. And it's cool whenever you hear guys say stuff like that about it, because knowing that guys like Chance in that spot where he was able to learn from Zach, now he's taken other guys under his wing and he's passing that information on as well. It's just not being a gatekeeper to the knowledge, but being a guy that is a wellspring of it.
It's fun to see, isn't it?
Amen.
Love it. Love it. Folks, we talked about Wally just a few minutes ago. Wally Harmon would usually be in this seat, but Wally had to work tonight, so you got stuck with me, Coach. Sorry, but
we're not going to hold it against you.
Yeah, I know. I heard your comments last night after the game. Whenever I had just landed, actually, was driving home from the airport when I heard you and your comments about me hosting.
They were nothing but positive.
Yeah. Well, it's good because the microphone was a little low, so I couldn't hear exactly what you said, but I had a pretty good idea what you said.
I can't wait.
Yeah. With an eye, you can't hear an eye roll. But Wally will be back next week with you folks. And the voice of the Georgetown Eagles, Wally Harmon, who does a magnificent job with baseball and football and basketball. He does so much for the school and for this community. And I'm honored to have Wally as a friend and work side by side with him at times. And it's a fun time. But
amen.
We appreciate you guys making us feel at home and part of the baseball team, too.
Well, if it weren't for you guys, we wouldn't have the exposure that we got. And we just appreciate what you guys do to give our guys the platform to be able to be seen by people all over the country with all their family and everything that they do. And for guys like you, we don't get the exposure that we do. So we appreciate everything that you do, giving back to our community and giving back to our guys.
Well, when somebody says, hey, you want to sit and talk baseball or football? Okay, I'm in. Folks, we are at the Golden Rule for the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show, and we want to thank Cody Hurt and Tommy McCormick for hosting us here, and Ruby for taking such good care of us. I don't know where Ruby went. I guess she's inside, so she's not hearing her name, but Ruby's out here taking good care of all of us, and the Golden Rule folks here really do a fantastic job. If you haven't visited the Golden Rule, come by and visit the Golden Rule. Thank them for sponsoring the Baseball Coaches Show, the Football Coaches Show, and being a part of Eagle Athletics here. Fantastic food. I highly recommend the Smash Burger. It's awesome. They've changed their deviled eggs. I haven't had to get one yet, but they have phenomenal deviled eggs here at the Golden Rule. And we love being here at the Golden Rule. Above all else, goodwill, friendship, and kind regard. The Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street in Georgetown, Texas. Or you can look at their menu on goldenruletx.com. Coach, thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Kelly.
Enjoyed the visit, and we'll see you again soon. Folks, we're going to take a break here at the Coaches Show, and we will be back in just a few minutes, and we'll visit with Nolan John. Stick with us, folks. We'll be right back here on SHN Sports, brought to you by First Responder Broadcasting.
The Golden Rule, the official sponsor of the Eagle Nation Coaches Show, is located at 606 South Church Street in Georgetown, Texas. Eats, drinks, unmatched atmosphere. Above all else, goodwill, friendship, and kind regard.
Welcome back to the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show with Coach Jordan Vierra. Now sitting next to me, number 12 senior pitcher Nolan Jondal. Nolan, thanks for joining us tonight, buddy.
Me.
How's the season going so far?
Pretty good. It started, rough, but we've turned a huge corner in district, and it's starting to look really good.
So this is your first year to start on the mound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you got the throw last year against Canyon in that Game 3. Let's go back to that for just a couple of minutes. You're in Game 3, win and you move on, lose and you go home. What's rolling through your mind starting that ultimately leads to a state championship?
Yeah, so I found out that I was going to be pitching that game the night that we lost. I had an idea, but
right.
I really truly found out the night we lost, and the whole bus ride I was definitely anxious. How could you not be? It's
exactly.
But no, it was a long night of just kind of like trying to calm yourself down, trying to like visualize yourself like Coach Fee has us do all the time, and really see yourself in the position and see yourself succeeding and kind of thinking it will happen and then it actually happening.
How much sleep did you get?
Shoot, not enough. But no, it definitely helped, and then the drive to the game, you're kind of sitting there, and another big thing that I've learned being in this program is kind of dealing with pressure and realizing that pressure is kind of just perceived.
Right.
It's not actual, like, no one's forcing you to do something. No one's, you're not going to die if you do bad, if you do good. It's all the same. So, kind of just trying to calm yourself down and treating it as like any other game. So that's what I was doing the whole bus ride, whole BP, sitting there kind of waiting to start. And then,
right.
You go out and pitch, and it kind of just goes away.
So from the booth, whenever we were calling the game, it seemed like first couple of hitters, you may have had a little nerves, may have been trying to overthrow the ball a little bit. How were you able to get focused and just start throwing the baseball like you have since you were a little kid?
Yeah, after the first inning, I remember going to the dugout and Haddon coming up to me and telling me just to calm down, settle yourself down, settle your nerves. It's you've got it. You've prepped for this. You're ready for it. And then kind of trusting that and knowing like you're in that situation for a reason. And then you go back out and you just kind of trust yourself and trust your stuff, and it all turned out just fine.
Yeah, it turned out the Canyon was probably the toughest series in the lead up to Dell Diamond. But going into that third game, you're a junior last year. You're coming in. You hadn't had a whole lot of starts on the hill, right?
Right.
Coming into that game. How many had you had prior to that?
I think one other in tournaments.
Okay.
So, yeah, one start.
So, pre-district, you have one start.
Mm-hmm.
And now Coach Vierra throws you to the dogs. and you did well, young man. You did well. So, in that game, y'all win that game, move on, and you wind up at Dell Diamond. Talk about that experience.
That was amazing. That was by far the coolest thing in my baseball career that I've ever gotten to be a part of. Not even playing, just kind of being in the dugout and watching all the, good baseball for one around you, all those other kids, that you're playing against, super competitive.
Right.
And then your team, as well, you get to watch guys that might have been, that are better than you, and you watch how they perform under those circumstances. And it's really cool to watch how they deal with pressure,
right,
and how they deal with, facing harder teams. And then, the fan base back behind you is the coolest thing, to get to look from the dugout back behind you and see everybody just supporting you.
Well, I wish there would have been a little cloud cover so everybody would have come out from underneath the cover, because there were a lot of people stacked up behind those seats, but it was really hot. But there was a good turnout in blue, Eagle blue that day. So I loved that you guys were in that third base dugout. You see the throw over, you see the tag, ball game, state champions. Now what? Just rush the field and dogpile somebody.
I know. It was surreal.
Rush the field and send your pitcher to the hospital.
Right. Yeah, that was not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But
that celebration, just talk about what went through your mind and just the joy of winning a state championship.
It was so cool. I was in the bullpen when we ended up winning it. So I turned around, and all of a sudden I hear screaming and gloves flying in the air, and then you're like, holy crap, we just won. And I'm next to Wade Denton,
yep,
and we're both like, we like freeze and make eye contact. We're like, holy crap, we just won what we've been talking about for like the past 3 or 4 years for him. and you're running out there and you're just like screaming. You don't know what to do, and you kind of feel like adrenaline rush, and you're just like super hyped up. And then getting to the dog pile, it's that's something we've talked about every single day, every single practice, for the past 3 years, for me, and it being such a special thing to be able to do and accomplish, it really feels super cool to jump in there with all your guys that you've been working for and working with.
I know every baseball team starts the season, and there's probably some talk about, hey, we want to win a state championship. We want to win a state championship. And you did. That's just got to seem so surreal at times.
For sure.
Until you look over and see that medal.
Yeah. No, it was definitely an honor to be a part of that and a part of that winning team.
So far this season, you got 6 starts, giving up 14 hits, 13 runs, but only 7 of those runs have been earned runs. Right?
Yeah, I want to say.
Do you keep up with your stats?
Not too well, no.
Okay, well, I'm telling you stuff you don't know then. 16 strikeouts, 8 of those looking. I love to watch a batter watch a third strike go by. I just love seeing those guys get frozen like that. Only 10 walks and the ERA at 3.128 so far in the season. Last start against Conley. Talk about that start.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun and relieving to get back out there and get back going. And when you're told, you get the first start of the district season, it's definitely an honor and super exciting. So, I was excited to get going. I was ready to get pitching again, and they weren't a bad team. You're kind of you still have to pitch your game, and you have to play your game,
right,
and execute pitches just as well. And so yeah, no, it was super fun to play against them, get back out, get back going.
So after the state championship, I'm sure you played some fall ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then coming into this season, what were you really wanting to focus on as far as your pitching, your mechanics? Where did you want to improve the most?
Yeah, I'm huge. You can ask my parents. I am nonstop critiquing my mechanics and kind of watching video of myself, seeing what I could do better. And Coach V knows this well. I've taken I'm fascinated with velo. How do you create as much velo as you can, which can be a problem in some cases. But
Did you say philo?
Velo, like velocity.
Velocity.
No, I mainly back hip, back leg, just kind of working with my hips and trying to get those going first.
So with your height, it gives you some length, a little bit of an advantage. What's your best pitch?
I'd honestly probably say my changeup. I can get my fingers around the seams and get a side spin on it,
right,
and get it to drop.
Make it do goofy stuff.
Yeah.
Is that where you get those 8 looking called
Some
third
of them.
strikes?
Some of them maybe.
Yeah. So when you go to set that up, I know the coaches are basically calling the pitches and what's going to happen. But if Coach V says, "Hey, throw what you want to throw," you got a 3-2 count, bases loaded, and a walk costs you the game. What pitch do you want to throw? Or am I giving away too much?
Shoot, I have no idea. I don't know. I like going curveball 3-2. I like kind of pitching backwards a little bit.
Not a lot of people throw curve 3-2.
Yeah.
With the game on the line.
But I mean, I'm at a point where I trust myself enough to execute my pitches and kind of just stay within myself and learning to consistently stay within myself. But I'm at a point in my, I think, career where I do trust that I can execute any pitch in whatever count.
How many ABs you had this year?
I have no idea. Probably maybe a handful.
I don't either. Just a handful. Do you like batting?
When you're hitting well, yeah. when you can't see it and can't hit well, no. I cannot stand batting.
Jose Altuve likes to bat when he's hitting well. Yeah, it's all the other stuff. Well, you got any shout-outs?
Kyle Ropolo.
Kyle Ropolo. Outstanding. Nolan, appreciate you joining us tonight. Folks, Nolan John Dahl. What about Dad?
My dad.
Oh, yeah,
and my mom.
him.
And Eli.
Dude, you're in so much trouble. It's so much trouble. All right, folks, that's Nolan John Dahl, number 12, senior right-hander, right?
Yes, sir.
Senior right-hander for your defending state champion Georgetown Eagle baseball team. We're going to take a quick break, be right back with senior shortstop Eli Hellman right after this. Thanks for joining us here from the Golden Rule.
The Golden Rule, the official sponsor of the Eagle Nation Coaches Show, is located at 606 South Church Street in Georgetown, Texas. Eats, drinks, unmatched atmosphere. Above all else, goodwill, friendship, and kind regard.
Welcome back to the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show with Coach Jordon Vierra here on SHN Sports, brought to you by First Responder Broadcasting, live from the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street in Georgetown. Folks, how about this setup? Isn't this awesome? Give these folks a hand for taking such good care of us and sponsoring this Coaches Show. Helps bring it to us. So, sitting next to me, got number 2, shortstop. Shake my hand, man.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see it. My bad.
I know. Shortstop. Eli Hellman. Eli, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go back a little bit. You were part of that state championship.
Yes, sir.
And it's funny because every time I talk to one of the guys that played on that team or the coaches on that team, there's just this automatic smile that happens. You started last season, coach is talking about a state championship, and you won one. What was that like?
Insane.
And not only did you win one, you were hugely involved in that because you were the starting shortstop
Yes,
on
sir.
the team last year.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, it was insane. Like, I've grown up in Georgetown. G has always been a thing. My brother has been through the program. My sister was a stat girl. We've always been invested in Georgetown baseball. And so growing up, seeing all those guys just go out there and play, I wanted to be them so bad.
Right.
You know, and seeing that 2019 team, my brother was actually on that team, and seeing them go to state was just crazy. Like, I felt like I was there with them on the field, and then actually getting to be on the field playing and then winning, it's still, like, surreal. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's insane.
Have you let your brother see your medal?
Oh, yeah. I actually have a really funny video. So the day, like, that we won, so he has his second-place medal hanging up in our room because we share a room, or we shared a room at that point. And so I took a video of his second place, and I showed the gold medal, and I was like, how does it feel losing? So that's just a funny video between me and him.
Ricky Bobby, second place, first loser.
That's right. If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah. So all last season, man, you had a great season. We called your name a lot during the broadcast. Talk about that season and how that started, because as a junior shortstop, you had some pretty big shoes to fill from previous seasons, but you stepped in there. Not a lot of air, just solid on that side of the field, man. That side, you two guys over there on that left side of the field, it may as well have been a 37-foot tall brick wall. Y'all,
sir.
Was there some competition between the two of you guys, just friendly kind of competition about your fielding?
I mean, not really. I've always taken pride in my fielding, and it wasn't so much as competition as it was I trust him, you know?
Right.
Like, a ball's getting hit anywhere in the infield, I trust we're going to get an out, for sure.
So does that help you, knowing one of you is backing the other up, does that help you decide, hey, I'm going to take a chance on this ball and try to get to it because I know I've got some
for sure.
some quality behind me?
For sure.
Your fielding percentage this year, .905 to this point.
Sir.
Pretty stinking good fielding percentage over there on that shortstop.
Sir.
And at the state championship game, you had a couple of big plays, a couple of big throws to really shut down what the Mustangs were trying to do.
Sir.
What were the nerves like leading up to that game?
Honestly, so like V said, we went out there a few days before and just got a feel for the field, what was around it, but man, that was nothing compared to stepping on that field, and you can't even hear yourself think.
Yeah.
It was insane. And so before the game, I was pretty nervous. And then once you start playing, it was kind of like a switch just turned on, and I was like, it's just another game. And, yeah.
First ground ball gets hit your way in the state championship game. How locked in were you?
So locked in, I don't remember it.
Really?
I don't remember it at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I look back at the game, and I was like, oh, I made that play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You take it. How about that third out?
Oh, it was insane. I'm pretty sure.
I saw your glove went really high.
Oh, yeah. I threw that. I threw that.
I saw
And,
it because it went up higher than we were at the top of the bleachers.
Oh, yeah. So I'm pretty sure I turned around and I was like 2 outs, whatever. I don't know, like just letting the outfield know because I like to do that, just keep him in.
Yeah.
And so I turn around and he's coming set, so I'm starting to get ready, and then like I think I looked over to EJ and for a split second, and then Haddon stepping off. This kid's halfway down the baseline, and then got the out, and I kind of just sat there. I looked at EJ, and then I threw it. Like you said.
We won.
Yeah, exactly, just like what V said.
Yeah.
Weren't expecting it.
Honestly, I think it was a base running mistake on that young guy's part. I think he's a sophomore.
He was.
Yeah. I think it's a base running mistake, but I don't care. It was awesome.
I'll take it.
So far this season, you're averaging 268. On-base percentage is 400. Your OPS is 741. Your slugging percentage 341. You've had 7 RBIs. Where, coming into the season, like I asked Nolan a little bit earlier, coming into the season, what was your primary focus on your skill set and what you wanted to improve on coming into the year?
Like I said earlier, I take a lot of pride in my fielding. So, I mean, I'm always working on my fielding. But main thing for me was hitting. And so my hips leak a lot, which means I like to chase pitches because I'm not letting them travel. And so a big thing for me was getting that hip hinge and really sitting back on balls and being able to drive them all over the field.
Last season, y'all had some really good senior leadership on that baseball team last year. Now coming into this year, it's on you.
Sure.
It's on the other seniors that are on this team. What's that like, having to be the one to step up now and not – because you guys can go, hey, we won a state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's easy.
Oh, yeah.
But if you do that, you're going to start getting smoked, especially in this district, as tough as this district is. How have you helped these young guys coming in get ready for this gauntlet of a district that they're playing in?
So for me, it was a lot of kind of lead by example, kind of like show my actions on the field and how to play, you know, because a big thing for us this year is getting experience, you know, because it's a whole new sheet. We got a whole bunch of new players, and so getting them experience and showing them like this is how you handle it, because it's faster paced than JV, and so showing them that you just need to stick within yourself and play. So yeah.
Outstanding. So you guys had a good game last night. Win 5-1. Pflugerville didn't quit. Loaded the bases there in the bottom of the ninth, and score a run I think it was on a walk, wasn't it? Walked in a run.
Yeah.
Walked in a run. What are you telling the guys out on the base, out in the field?
Oh, I wasn't worried at all. Like we're up by 5 runs. I was like, 1 run isn't gonna matter. I mean, there are multiple points in that game where Riley would be worrying about a kid on first base or second base, and I'd be like, dude, just go pitch.
Just pitch.
I got him, you got them, you know?
Yeah.
And so just having the guys trust everyone, you know, just like last year.
Right. When you got to cover second base, who throws the ball harder, this year or last year?
Last year.
Yeah,
I love Chance.
Yeah, but Chance is accurate, though.
Oh, yeah.
Accurate on those throws.
For sure.
But he's replacing a howitzer.
Oh, yeah. He's a dog.
Folks, senior shortstop Eli Hellman. Eli, you got any shout-outs?
Kyle Ruppolo, parents.
There you go. Learned well, young man.
Everybody at Golden Rule. It's awesome.
Cool. Awesome. Folks, Eli Hellman, your senior shortstop for your Eagles. Eli, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, we're going to take one more quick break, then we'll come back and wrap up the show. The Eagle Baseball Coaches Show with Jordon Vierra here from the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street. We'll be right back to wrap things up. Stick with us.
The Golden Rule, the official sponsor of the Eagle Nation Coaches Show, is located at 606 South Church Street in Georgetown, Texas. Each drinks unmatched atmosphere. Above all else, goodwill, friendship, and kind regard.
Welcome back to the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show with head coach Jordon Vierra. Coach, I understand you got a special message you need to send.
Yeah, I would be in a lot of trouble if I didn't tell my mom happy birthday. Today's her birthday. We got to wake her up this morning with a little FaceTime from the Ninos. So happy birthday, Kayla. And then I guess my two yahoos are right here too. Hi, guys.
Got the fam.
Yeah.
Got it here. Coach, got a big ball game tomorrow night. Pflugerville's coming to town for a follow-up. They're going to come in wanting some revenge over that 5-1 loss. What are you looking for tomorrow night?
No, looking for Nolan to go out and give us a competitive game. Go out and fill up the strike zone. We talked about it a little bit this morning as far as being able to attack the strike zone and just execute pitches. If he's in the strike zone and execute pitches and our defense plays really good behind him, I think we got a pretty good chance of being able to do what we need to do and be able to score runs and go there. So, we're just looking for competitive pitches. We're looking for clean defense and find a way on first base. And if we're able to do those things, I think we got a pretty good chance.
Folks, game time tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. SHN Sports, we will be bringing you, brought to you by First Responder Broadcasting, we'll be bringing you the ball game. Wally Harmon on the call. Pre-game at 6:45, first pitch at 7 o'clock. And we're looking forward to a good crowd out there tomorrow night. Beautiful night for baseball against Pflugerville Panthers as these Georgetown Eagles, defending state champion Georgetown Eagles, continue the march towards Dell Diamond in June. Folks, we appreciate you joining us for the First Coaches Show. Wally Harmon will be back next week, 6:45, Thursday, live from the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street in Georgetown. Once again, thanks to Cody Hurt, Tommy McCormick, and Ruby for taking such good care of us. Thank you, Ruby. You're awesome. We appreciate all the folks here at the Golden Rule. Folks, come by and try it out. So, Coach, thanks again. We appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
And we will see you guys later. Folks, join us again next week, Thursday, 6:45. But come out to the ballpark tomorrow night and watch these Eagles play.
Show up, be loud, wear blue.
There you go. Show up, be loud, and wear blue. Folks, thank you very much. Eagle Nation, thanks for coming out tonight. We'll see you next time. I'm Kelly Duvall. This is SHN Sports brought to you by First Responder Broadcasting. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.